All right, so here you have the ulnar collateral ligament. And then that is also going to be, that's going to form part of the cubital tunnel. Okay, so that'll come into play later when we talk about the ulnar nerve and the cubital tunnel. Okay, and then just to jump ahead, when we do special tests, we're going to be doing, what do you call it when an extremity moves away from the midline of the body? Is that valgus or varus? It moves away from the midline? What's the first letter in lateral? Oh, okay, so this is moving away from the midline, so that's valgus. So what we did is you would test like this. Now sometimes you might use your hand to stabilize here, or you might put it here, and you're basically moving like that. The distal portion is moving away from the midline of the body, so that's valgus, and we're stressing this ulnar or medial collateral ligament. So then when you do the other side, you're going to basically do the same thing. Again, you know, sometimes you might stabilize up here, you might stabilize here. Basically, you're doing this type of thing. Okay? So those are going to be special tests that we'll do later. That's going to be valgus and varus. So then the radial collateral ligament is going to be on the radial side here. And then again, there's the annular ligament that goes around the head of the radius. All right, so as far as other inert tissue, of course we have the bursa. The most significant one in the elbow is going to be the olecranon bursa. Okay, so you can either have an acute traumatic injury where you injure the bursa like that, or it can be a repetitive type of thing with constantly putting pressure on the elbow. Okay. So what are you going to see if somebody has that? Yeah, basically you're going to look visually, you're going to see it swollen. Could be if it's red and inflamed, then it could be acute. Now there are other certain systemic conditions that can give you bursitis too, like gout. A lot of times people will have gouty deposits that'll be in that area there. All right, so the main contractile tissues that we're going to be talking about in the elbow is what? Wrist extensors, wrist flexors. But you also have a little bit going on with the elbow flexors and elbow extensors. All right, so now we're talking about the flexors of the elbow. One of the primary ones we're talking about is the biceps brachii. Okay, so that's an elbow flexor, but what else does it do? What this? It attaches on to the radius, and when it pulls, it supinates. Right? That's why you can tell, you can see your biceps changes in position where if you're doing a curl, like if you're doing weightlifting something, you do a curl this way. It's different than when you do this. You can see how the biceps changes when you supinate. And then you also have the brachialis, and then brachioradialis. Okay, what reflex level is that? Okay. So don't forget that when, if we're talking about, now we're talking about elbow, we get into hand and wrist, you still need to know all your dermatomes and myotomes for the whole upper extremity. You should be able to go to reflexes, dermatomes, myotomes like that. Oh, and then, so we're talking about biceps, what reflex is that? Is that? C5. And then that leaves what other reflex? Triceps C7. Okay, so wrist flexors, I mean, you can go through the notes and get all the exact names and stuff. I'm just going to go through it briefly. Okay, so wrist flexion, and then what myotome is that? Yeah, there you go. And then what, we have elbow extensors, what muscle is that? Oh, it's triceps, and yeah, it's C7. So this is C7, and this is C6. So then you have flexor digitorum, it's another flexor muscle, palmaris longus. And we talked about extension of the triceps, and then coneus. And then the wrist lateral epicondyle, those are what? What do they do at the wrist? What motion? Yeah, extension. Okay. And what monotone is that? Yeah, C6. So then you get into the specific muscles: extensor carpi radialis longus, carpi radialis brevis, digitorum communicus. And then you also have for pronation and supination, we have the supinator muscle. And that's basically along the back here. What it does is it kind of pulls like that, pulls the radius. And again, like you said, biceps supination, the biceps supination as well. Then you have pronator quadratus, and that's over here on the distal part. And so then the pronator teres, that's right in here. And then what nerve did we say that was significant for? Median nerve. And then what's the distribution of the median nerve in the hand? Right there. Yeah. And other muscles, extensor digitorum communicus. Actually, there's going to be a test. So as far as special tests, what are the ways that we're going to do special tests for contractile tissue again? Okay. Active resisted, or stretching at end range of passive range of motion. Okay, so we're going to do extensor digitorum communicus. Basically, it's going to be this. This is your special test for that. Okay. So then, how would you do a special test to test the wrist extensors? Yeah, so you would hold it in extension, and you'd press down like that. Okay, that's active resistance. So how would you do one that's passive stretching at the end of the range? Okay, so now you just learned your special test for your form. Okay.